Warning, the following video contains materials that can cause, but not limited to, cringing, secondhand embarrassment, more cringing, first-hand embarrassment, faux humor, awkward silence, and uncontrollable rage because you cannot believe you wasted part of your life watching this. View at your own risk.
Hey there! Did you miss me? Oh. You didn't? Okay. It's fine. Hey, okay, so I know this is really different from the other videos that I've been doing lately. So I decided to go to the Pokemon Regionals in Seattle. Gosh, I can already hear people judging me. Stop! Okay, I'm a loser. At least I know it. I went there last year and I got destroyed. So I thought maybe if I'll just bring you guys along so when I suck again, it'll be funny. Who knows? So, basically, let me try and explain what it is. So you have basically around 500 people that are all coming together and fighting, and not fighting. They're playing Pokemon. We're all losers. They're all losers coming together, and we're gonna see who is the best loser. The one that comes out on top is the best loser. Basically, so you're gonna go through like 8 or 9 rounds of the video game Pokemon, or you're gonna go through what I'm doing, trading card game. Boo! Yeah. Okay, that was awkward. That's what I'm gonna do. If you know me in real life and are watching this, I need you to stop watching right now. You read the disclaimer in the front of the video. It's your own fault. Okay, so basically, so you just go through that. Okay, so basically after you decide which event you're going to be in, you're going to get placed, they're called Swiss rounds. There's 9 Swiss rounds, and it just is where you go and you play against someone else. And then if you win, you get 3 points. If you tie, you get 1 point, and if you lose, you get 0. So just try and win. And then after the amount of rounds, and the amount of rounds is decided by how many people there are. Last year there was about 500 people, so we played, I think, 9 rounds. So you do that, and then whoever they decide, it's usually the top 32. So the top 32 make it onto day 2. Yay! And they play, and then they play a couple of other Swiss rounds to get it down to the top 8. And then you play a single elimination bracket, boop, 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 to the final 2, and whoever wins that becomes the regional championship, and they win $5,000. Yeah, that's right. Playing nerd games gets you money, losers. So if I win, you guys can't judge me, but I won't, because I suck at this game. So yeah, there's a bunch of different prizes you can win. If you're watching this and you already played the game, you know the prizes. So if you're not, first place is $5,000 and a bunch of other stuff that you don't care about. Second place is $2,500, and then it just kind of goes down from there. All the way to, if there's enough people, if you make it into the top 64, you walk away with 250 bucks. The entry fee is $30, so it's a little expensive, but if you enjoy it, then might as well just suck it up and play. You get to meet a lot of people. Some of them are nice, some of them aren't. I'm not the nice one. Yep, and then you just play. So that's pretty much it. If you don't know how to play, I can explain it kind of fast. Basically, for the TCG, the trading card game, you get a 60 card deck. You draw 7 cards at the beginning of your game. You have to have you have to have a Pokemon that's basic. Like, it's gotta have this little basic thing. So the 3 ways you can win is if you take 6 prize cards, and you get the prize cards by knocking out your opponent's Pokemon. You can win by benching out your Pokemon, so like you have to play them out in the field, and if your opponent doesn't have any more, they can't play, so they lose. And the third one is at the beginning of their turn, if they can't draw a card, so if they run through their 60 card deck and can't draw a card on their next turn, then they lose, because you always have to be drawing a card. And so there's decks that work on all types, there's decks that work on every single one of these win conditions. Most of them go for just taking the 6 prize cards because it's the easiest way and the fastest way. I'll get into my deck in a second. Now, normally you're not supposed to share your deck until after the event's over, but... Oh no, Tyson with like 4 people watching a video is gonna post his deck on YouTube. Oh no! No one's gonna see this anyways. No one watches my crap. Okay, so... yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, just let me know or look it up because Google's really helpful. So, I mean, what are you even doing here? Alright, so that's pretty much it. When I'm at the event, I will vlog it for you guys. Just so you can see what it's like. Because even if you're not really interested, it's fun to see what other things in the world are doing. So, who knows? Alright, so that's pretty much all I needed to say for this one. I'll just show you the deck list, and then if I remember anything else, I'll let you know. Okay! Just a quick little note, I'm about to jump into my deck list. I know a lot of you don't really play the game, and it won't seem as interesting. I tried to make it as understanding as possible for someone that doesn't play it, but if you don't want to, click right here, and it'll skip over it. So you don't have to worry about sitting through boring Tyson talking about it. Thank you! Do you guys like my playmat? I bought it just for this tournament. Now you're thinking, wait a second. There's one missing. There's no Sylveon. Well, bam! Okay, you can't see it very well. Bam! Yep, I'm running Sylveon. I'm that guy. For those that don't understand, Sylveon's kind of one of those annoying counter. It's like it's not a deck where you're supposed to be attacking. It's more of a deck where you just kind of stall out your opponent. And I'm gonna just say, like, I'm the person that believes Pokemon shouldn't be fighting, they should be friends. So this way, you don't have to worry about, you just gotta love each other as your opponent is screaming at me. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you what's in my deck. If you're not into this, then skip ahead. There'll probably be something at the end, because if you won't understand this, I'll try and make it kind of understandable. It's really difficult because I suck at explaining things. But anyways, alright, so we have 4 Eevees. Oh my gosh, I can't. Okay, so basically the reason that we play Eevee is because of its ability, and also because you have to have Eevee to evolve. Energy evolution obviously just lets you evolve into Sylveon faster. So, and the faster you can play in this game, the better. I only run 3 Sylveons. I've never needed the 4th. Sometimes you get into awkward situations where 2 of them are prized. I can work around that, not really worried about it. And then I run 1 copy of Flareon and 1 copy of Vaporeon. Sometimes you do have to attack in this game. For instance, Volcanion, which I'll put up here, it's very aggressive. It's hard to set up against it, so I run Vaporeon because it's weak to water. And basically what Vaporeon does is each of your stage 1 Pokemon is now water in addition to being fairy. So and same thing with Flareon. So it lets me hit numbers easier. So now this is where my deck starts to get a little different from others that you might have probably seen online. And the reason I did this is because when I was testing it, I lost 5 times in a row to someone using Hex Maniac, which basically shuts off all the abilities, and so I'm stuck with just 1 Eevee in the field, and then I can't get another one out, so I pass, and then they kill me. So I opted to play 1 Tapu Lele. This is a very expensive card, so I had to play it. Basically, what it does is when you set it down onto your bench, and your bench is just where the Pokemon go to play games. Don't judge me. You get to bring out any supporter, and supporters just help you. Supporters just help you, go through your deck a little faster and get what you want. I play 1 Oricorio, because that one lets me search for 2 basic energy, and when you don't have energy, you can't attack, so it's kind of a huge thing. It also helps me evolve because of energy evolution, the ability on Eevee, so I think it's more important. People are probably screaming at me because this deck works on consistency, so if you don't start with Eevee, you're gonna fall behind, but I run enough techs that I've never had a problem with it. Also, just for fun, I decided to run Wailord because it is so annoying, and I love it. There we go. Okay, so it's got 250 HP, which is a very annoying number to hit. So if you, because Sylveon is weak to steel. I don't know. I'm gonna focus this on it. But right there in that little, that's steel. So there isn't a lot of steel Pokemon in the meta, which is just the Pokemon that are played a lot in competitive tournaments. So but if I run into someone that can take one-hit KOs on my Sylveons really fast, I like to stall out with Wailord because also it's just not expected, so that's fun. I also run one copy of Giratina, basically just to combat a Greninja, because Greninja has a break and it just can snipe the bench for 60 damage, and that's exactly how much HP Eevee has. So if I play Greninja or Giratina down to the bench, its ability shuts off breaks abilities, so it makes them have to play around that. And my last Pokemon is I play one copy of Bunnelby. I'm going for more of a mill deck, and I'll explain why in a little second. Bunnelby allows me to discard 2 cards off the top of my opponent's deck, or shuffle in 2 of mine or 1 of each, which is very important in late games when you ran through a lot of your resources. So these are all the Pokemon that I have. I know it's a very different looking list, but I feel like it seems inconsistent, but I get out what I want every single time. So now we're going to go on to supporters. We're going to run 3 copies of N, kind of standard, just shuffles your cards in. And like I said with prize cards, you start out with 6. So this lets you draw 1 card for every prize card you have left. So if your opponent only has 1 left and you use that, they're not gonna be able to get the cards that they need as fast. We also we only run 2 copies of Delinquent. I've never had trouble getting them out, especially with Tapu Lele that lets me search them out. And you only need 1 to make your opponent feel uncomfortable with putting down a stadium, because once they do, what this card does is you discard the stadium, and then they also have to get rid of 3 cards in their hand. So first they're going to be uncomfortable playing a stadium down, and if they do, they're always going to make sure that they have at least 4 cards in hand, because if they get lower, I just play that and then they start top decking, which just means that they have to hope that the top card of their deck when they draw a card is very good. I also only run 2 copies of Team Flare Grunt. The Pokemon, I know you're supposed to run 4, but the Pokemon that are the best decks in format right now, they don't really care that much about energy denial. Like Garbodor, Espeon, GX, they only need 1 energy to run. Greninja, Volcanion, those all work on actually having energy in the discard. Well, not all of them, but some of them do. And then Lurantis GX, they all focus on, not worrying about that much energy denial. So if I focused on energy, like just getting rid of them, they would kind of blow me away because they have more than enough. But there's other decks that do really need their energy, so that's why I run 2. I also run 2 copies of Lysander. Just lets you bring out a Pokemon that's sitting on the bench just to stall out. We run 2 copies of Team Rocket's Handiwork. Like I said, I'm more of a mill deck because I feel like it's easier to run them out of cards. Team Rocket's Handiwork isn't the best supporter because it comes down to flips. You have to flip 2 coins, and then for each heads, you discard the top 2 cards off of your opponent's deck. So you have to get lucky, but just 1 heads, that's 2 cards. That's 2 turns faster that they're going to deck out. So it also, when you're playing against a good opponent that manages their resources better, this is a great way to get them to discard cards that they didn't want to. We also run 1 copy of Team Skullgrunt. You just look at their hand and discard 2 energy cards you have from it. If someone's trying to Shaman Loop you, which basically means that they're just attacking, and that lets Shaman go back in their hand so you can't ever kill them, which they really shouldn't be able to in this deck. Or things like Greninja where they put water back into their hand, or anything like that. This just lets you look into the hand, see what they have, and then you get a discard up to 2 energy if they have it. Really annoying. It's not the best supporter because you don't know what's in their hand. I tried running this deck with Gumshoe, and which lets you look at their hand. Didn't really work well because I almost always threw it away because it wasn't worth it. I run 1 copy of Ninja Boy. Sometimes you'll start out with a Pokemon you don't want to, like Tapu Lele, when you start out with Tapu Lele or Oricorio, you don't get to use their ability because it's when you place it down. So I use Ninja Boy to shuffle that Pokemon back into my deck and bring out a card that I do want, like Eevee, or if I'm stalling Wailord, because you want to be able to use that ability. I run one copy of Pokemon Fan Club. This isn't the best supporter either, but it lets you, it works really well for this deck. This deck isn't one of the faster decks. It just kind of focuses on slowing your opponent down, making them not play. I really desperately need to get as many Pokemon as I can out because 60 HP is not that high. I will get knocked out very easily if I cannot evolve. So if I'm under like ability lock, like Hexmaniac or Wobbuffet's up there, I need to be able to get more Pokemon out there. So also it works well against item lock because there's a lot of item lock decks out there. Well, there's Vileplume, but it's in every deck, I swear. And then we run one copy of Hexmaniac. It's a little out of screen, suck it up. Hexmaniac basically gets rid of all abilities until the end of your opponent's turn. So, I mean, not really good for me because most of my Pokemon have abilities, but it's for decks that item lock me or basically just don't allow me to do something that I want to do. And it also works well against Volcanion because they need their abilities just as well. So what you want to do with that card is, after you're done evolving your EVs and playing down the cards you want, you basically use that at the last possible moment, so you don't have to worry about being item locked or by not using your abilities. Oh my gosh. All right, so now onto our item cards. Let's scoot these up a little bit. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so we run the standard 4 VS Seeker. Totally off to the side. Let me just show it to you really fast. 4 VS Seeker. Just put a supporter card from your discard pile into your hand. People have told me to just do 3 because of the kind of where the format's going with item lock and soft item lock, which is Garbodor. But it's just too handy for the amount of supporters I'm running. I don't care if I put another item in the discard. We also run 4 Puzzles of Time. And that's just because if you play 2 Puzzles of Time at one time, you can pick 2 cards from the discard pile and put them back into your hand. So if they knock out Eevee and a Sylveon, or if they knock out your Wailord, or if Greninja knocks out your Giratina, and you need that back, because that's kind of how we win the game, is without, if they don't have, if they can't use their abilities, the amount of damage they can produce is minimal. We also run 4 max potions. Again, I was told to run 2, and there's a lot of decks out there that can hit almost 200, about 190, 180. There's a lot of decks that 2-hit KO out there, which just means they knock me out in 2 turns. If I can stop that, or if I can stall with Wailord, like, it just bugs the crap out of them, and it's really fun to watch. I run 2 copies of Nest Ball. I pulled that golden one. Look how cool it is. I didn't think it was worth that much, but apparently it's like $18 right now, so I probably shouldn't be using it in my list, but it's really cool. All of these cards I pulled. That's why I'm kind of making the deck out of this. I had to buy 1 Sylveon, but I pulled 2 at a pre-release, so I was like, well, might as well make my deck out of there. And then I run 2 Enhanced Hammers. You will run against decks that do use a lot of special energy, and that's what that does. It discards special energy. You don't have to use your supporter for it. It just gets rid of that DCE, double colorless energy. Really easy to just get it out. Don't have to waste a supporter like Team Flare Grunt. Just nice to, you know, make them still have to work to get their energy out. Because I run so many Pokemon, I do run 2 Float Stones. I tried 3. I never needed it because I could always get those Float Stones back in my hand if they discarded it. I run 1 copy of Red Card because doing a red card combo with Delinquent, shuffle their card, and red card makes you shuffle your hand and draw 4 cards, and Delinquent makes you discard 4. So if they don't get a supporter or something that they can help to draw more cards, they're going to be kind of stuck. I do use 1 Field Blower. It lets me discard up to 2 of any combination of Pokemon tools or stadium cards. So if they're playing, like if they have Choice Band, which lets them do 30 more damage to my GXs and EXs, I can discard that so they won't do as much damage. I run one super rod because it lets me shuffle in either 3 basic energy, 3 Pokemon, or a combination of that. When you're going against like the mirror of Sylveon and they're just running energy denial, it's really nice to get that back through. And that's the end of my item cards. My stadiums are, this is where I'm going to get yelled at the most. I'm only running 2 parallel cities. I know people are like, what are you doing? Sylveon works so much with Delinquent. You know, your opponent is the one that's going to be playing a lot of stadium cards. We don't really need it. I didn't find room for it. I could, you know, split a max potion or via Seeker for one, but honestly, like, this is all I need. It helps me against the Volcanion matchups, the Decidueye matchups, the Greninja matchups, and I only need 2 because I can get them back either through Bunnelby or Puzzle of Time. So, yeah, I don't really have to worry about that. And then for my energy, because that's what you need to attach, I run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 copies of Fairy Energy, because the only Pokemon that's attacking in this list is Sylveon. None of the, and I guess like maybe Bunnelby, and that's a colorless, so you don't have to worry about the other types of that. So I've never needed more than 6 because I run Oricorio. You could swap out Oricorio for another energy, but I like to be able to use a Nest Ball or Pokemon Fan Club to draw into energy. I did try to use Steven, it was just a little too slow for me. I'd rather risk it with a Pokemon. And then I do run 2 DCE to be able to use my GX attack. You're only allowed to use 1 GX attack per turn. Sylveon's is you put 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon back into their hands and all cards attached to it. Very annoying. That's kind of that's why this deck is seen as very just rude, because it just kind of makes them not play the game. And then also to use Fairy Wind for 110 damage, and that's why we use these 2 guys, because it's only 110 damage, but if they're grass or fire and they're like weak to fire or water, then I'm hitting for 220 damage, which knocks out pretty much everything. It doesn't knock out Decidueye, but I'm not really worried about that matchup. Alright, so that's pretty much my list. Don't judge me, I think it's a really good list. Okay, well, I think it's an adequate list. Okay, I think it's a list. Thank you. Stop judging me. So, that's it for my deck list. I will be vlogging the day of it. It's coming up really soon. I'm really excited, really nervous, because I suck at talking to people. So, we'll see how this goes. So, that's pretty much it for what you have to do to go to our regionals. I'm going to just hurry and talk about what I'm going to bring. Basically, I'm going to bring my deck and my playmat. I also recommend bringing things like dice for damage counters. The first one I went to, I just used the little dots that you get with like theme decks, and people laughed at me. Wasn't a good time. So make sure to bring dice. If not, I bought mine halfway through the tournament. They were $1. So also bring some extra money, because it's 30 bucks to get in, but there's also vendors there that you can buy things from, and I know I'm going to. Also, if you have extra Pokemon cards like I do, they will buy them from you. I think it's like 6 to 7 cents a card, which for like the basic commons ones, which aren't very good, and if you don't want to keep them, might as well sell them. What else? If you have cards you want to trade them. You'll meet a lot of people. It's a really nice environment. People are really friendly there until you start to battle them and start beating them, or you start denying them stuff. Everyone's gonna hate me. Let's see, what else should you bring? Oh, also, you're gonna be there for a long time, so bring some food or bring some money to get some. Seattle, that's the one I'm going to. I'm going to the Seattle Regionals. I think I already said that, but there's a mall right next to it, so I don't have to worry about that. But different ones don't really have places to go, and so they'll have like one place you can eat in there, and it's really expensive. So if I were you, to save a little money, I would just bring your own food. Also, I live an hour away from there, so I don't have to worry about finding a hotel. But if you're gonna go to one of these, make sure to register for a hotel way in advance, because I saw someone trying to get one today, and it's in like a few days. So not very smart. Anything else? I'll probably think of something else and I'll tell you later, but I believe that's everything. So If you have any questions about what's going on, what I'm going to be doing, you have something that you want me to do while I'm there, just let me know. Well, that's pretty much all I wanted to do. I just wanted to record this because I just wanted to show you guys why I'm so freaking cool. So, I'm heading out of there. I'm heading out of this place, so peace. Bye.